You're listening to Brains On, where we're serious about being curious.
Brains On is supported in part by a grant from the National Science Foundation.
Thank you so much for auditioning for our new musical. We'll be in touch. Next!
Next on the list to audition is, let me see, it just says moon.
Just says moon? I think you mean the moon, aka the world-famous glowing orb who's also a triple threat. I sing, la, I dance, cha-cha-cha-cha-cha-cha, and I make the tides ebb and flow. I'd love to see Lin-Manuel Miranda do that.
The moon? Hi, you realize we're casting for the musical Little Orphan Annie, right?
I know, and you're so lucky I'm here. The moon will come out tomorrow. Bet your bottom dollar that tomorrow.
It says here that you've been in movies?
Oh, yeah, lots of them. Usually just in the background, but I did have a starring role in this really, really important film made by a little government agency called NASA. Maybe you've heard of them? They shot on location on me.
Well, thanks for coming all this way to audition. This is great stuff, really. We'll be in touch.
You mean it? Really? Finally, this is my big break. I can just feel it. Moon baby, you're gonna be a star.
Sure, exit's right there. Next!
You're listening to Brains On from APM Studios. I'm Molly Bloom, and joining me today is Ira from San Jose, California. Hi, Ira.
Hi, Molly.
Today we're answering a truly out-of-this-world question from Caleb.
Hi, my name is Caleb from Watertown, Massachusetts, and my question is, how do you build a house on the moon? What materials do you use?
Ira, would you want to live on the moon if you could?
Yeah, if I could breathe and I had the things I need, yeah, I would like to. The views would be really cool.
The views would be cool. So what would you want to make sure to take with you?
My favorite book series, Keeper of the Lost Cities. My favorite stuffed animal. My family. I would hope some of my friends would join. A bunch of stuff so I don't get bored. Food, water, and maybe some hair bands and clips and maybe a hairbrush.
These are really good ideas. So humans have been to the moon before. In the late 1960s and early 1970s, the United States landed several crewed spaceships on the lunar surface.
The first person to ever set foot there was Neil Armstrong in 1969.
These missions stopped in 1972, and no one has been back since.
That was over 50 years ago.
It's been so long, but right now, the U.S. Space Agency, NASA, along with more than 30 other countries, are working to get humans back to the moon sometime in the next few years. These would just be short visits, anywhere from 10 to 30 days.
But the goal is to eventually build a base there, make homes even, so people can stay for longer.
Maybe one day we'll even have moon hotels. What would that be like?
Welcome to the Lunar Inn. It's morning on the moon. Or what we call morning. We have daylight on the moon for around 2 weeks straight in Earth time. Then it's totally dark for the next 2 weeks.
Oh, I have to pee. Where's the potty?
Right away, you'll notice the gravity of the situation. And by that, we mean there's much less of it. You only weigh about 1/6 of what you weigh on Earth, which means walking.
Aha! There's the toilet. Huh. Whoa!
Oh, walking is a challenge. A normal step has enough power to send you flying. It's best to use a slow and gentle side shuffle.
Okay, shuffle, shuffle, okay. Ah, finally. Ah! Wait, what was that noise?
That's the sound of our moon toilet flushing. Since there's so little gravity here, Earth toilets won't work on the moon. Lunar toilets have to suck the waste away. Germs still work on the moon, though, so don't forget to sanitize your hands. As you head to breakfast, make your way through our super thick concrete halls.
Wow, that's solid.
It better be. There's no air on the moon, so you need strong walls to keep all this breathable oxygen inside. Without them, you'd be toast.
Yikes.
Speaking of toast, welcome to the cafeteria. Did you know the first ever meal eaten on the moon was bacon squares, peaches, sugar cookie cubes, juice, and coffee? Sounds tasty, right? Well, we've got even better fare now. Some of the salad was even grown here in our lunar greenhouses.
Yum, moon salad.
And be sure to turn around, because right there is our extra large picture window.
Huh? It's so beautiful. And up in the sky, is that Earth?
Yes, it is. You'll notice that it's a crescent shape. Just like how people on Earth see the moon covered half in shadow at times, here on the moon, we see Earth in shadow too. What a view, huh?
Wow, I have got to get a picture. Let me just walk a little closer and...
Just remember the difference in
Whoa!
gravity. Can we get a mop in the dining room, please?
Oof, still not used to that.
Brains on.
Wow, sign me up. I can't wait to visit the moon.
Before you book your room, Molly, let's talk about getting there. First, the moon is really far away, around 238,000 miles from Earth. It would take a spacecraft about 3 days to get there.
Okay, no problem. I'll just bring a good book.
Second, it's super expensive. It can cost over $1 million to send just 1 kilogram of stuff to the moon.
Wait, that's how much my hardcover book weighs. Okay, on second thought, skip the novel. Maybe I'll just look out the window.
Well, don't forget the space you're traveling through is full of deadly radiation.
Oh, right. Space has something called cosmic radiation. It's made up of super tiny, super fast particles. They come from our sun and from deeper in space. Space radiation can make you very sick if you're not protected from it. On Earth, we have an atmosphere that protects us, but in space, astronauts need special ships and spacesuits to help shield them from the radiation.
And it's not just radiation. There are also tiny pebbles in space. They're flying at super speeds, and they can damage your ship. So you need really sturdy vehicles.
Flying through a big, dark void of mega dangers? Okay, actually, looking out a window at that seems terrifying, so I'll just catch up on sleep, I guess.
Once you land on the moon, there are more problems. The moon has no air, so you have to bring it with you. And wear a spacesuit with oxygen tanks to breathe if you want to go outside.
Not my preferred vacation attire, but okay. No need to pack Hawaiian shirts, I guess.
Also, the moon is covered in toxic dust. It's really bad if you breathe it in. So you have to be careful. Don't let it get in your ship or building.
Oh dear, toxic moon dust sounds really bad for my allergies. Is it too late to pack extra tissues?
Plus, it gets super hot and super cold on the moon. Sometimes it's 200 degrees Fahrenheit. Other times, it's 200 below zero.
Oh, that is too many degrees below zero. I didn't know degrees could go that low.
And the moon even has moonquakes. Some last for hours.
Deadly dust? 400-degree temperature swings? Moonquakes? You know, I think I'm going to just do a staycation here on Earth. I hear it's nice this time of year. Even though I might not want to visit the moon, lots of people do.
Yeah, thrill seekers, astronomers, atmosphere haters.
One reason NASA wants to build a base there is because it could help us explore other parts of space too. It would be much easier to send ships to Mars if they could stop at the moon first and pick up more supplies and fuel.
We still have lots to figure out before that dream is a reality.
But here's something we can figure out right now. It's the mystery sound. Are you ready to hear the mystery sound, Ira?
Yeah?
All right, here it is. What do you think, Ira?
It sounds like someone's eating something like a cracker. My first thought was a cracker, but it sounds too soft to be a cracker.
So what else do you think it could be?
I don't know, maybe like a very, very hard chip or a hard cracker.
Excellent.
Or maybe someone like biting a lollipop and chewing a lollipop.
Ooh, yeah, that's not good for your teeth.
Yeah.
But maybe they were doing it. All right, well, we're going to hear it again. Get another chance to guess and hear the answer after the credits.
So keep listening.
If you're enjoying this video and are looking for more Brains On, check out our podcasts. We've got Brains On, Smash Boom Best, Forever Ago, and Moment of available wherever you get your podcasts. And if you're craving even more curious content, then our Smarty Pass program is perfect for you. Enjoy exclusive access to ad-free episodes, bonus episodes, special discounts on events and merchandise, and a unique thank you gift delivered right to your doorstep. All this for just $3.99 a month, or save with an annual subscription for only $36. Visit smartypass.org today, and thank you for supporting our show. You're listening to Brains On. I'm Molly.
And I'm Ira.
Today we're talking all about whether you could build a house on the moon. Turns out there are some pretty big challenges, like moon dust that irritates your lungs and super extreme temperatures.
Not to mention that it's really expensive.
But scientists at NASA are already hard at work trying to figure out the best way to build moon houses.
And they hope to have their first houses built on the moon by 2040. That's less than 20 years away.
What a relief!
Did you hear something?
I think it came from that open window.
It's me! Hello! Out here!
What the what? It's the moon.
Why is everyone always so surprised when they realize I can talk? I happen to have been voted most pleasing speaking voice at Moon High School, and also most likely to end up on Human Broadway. There's no business like show business.
Makes sense to me.
Definitely nothing weird here.
Anywho, I just so happened to overhear you two talking about whether it would be possible for humans to build houses on me, the moon, and I couldn't help myself. I have lots of thoughts on this.
What kind of thoughts?
So glad you asked, Ira. Earth has been hogging all the humans for thousands of years. It's time they share a little, you know what I mean? I'm not playing second fiddle to Earth anymore. I'm ready to be the star, the moon that I was always meant to be.
Sure, but we just talked about all the reasons why it's going to be hard to build houses on the moon. The sharp dust.
The radiation.
No air.
The moonquakes.
Or maybe all the junk left behind on me by astronauts.
Where's that music coming from?
Shh, this is my big moment.
It can be so lonely, can't it, when you're orbiting a planet and there's only you and Earth and outer space. Sure, I love human company, but all the things you dump on me are cluttering the craters on my face, like bits of spacecraft, chunks of probes. Where'd you think this stuff would go? And a tiny sculpture of an astronaut. Falcon feather, that's a hoot, and a dozen pairs of boots, and that's just a fraction of the stuff I've got. I'll have to beg your pardon, but I've no intent to garden with the rakes and drills and brushes lying here. These cameras and batteries, a photo shoot won't flatter me. I'm not a lunar trash can for your gear. When you look at me, the moon, on a balmy night in June, they say it's romantic to do. But you might be alarmed, the opposite of charmed, to see bags and bags and bags of human poo. Sure, this orbit can be lonely, but I'm currently the only moon you've got. I'm begging on my knees. I could use a little grooming while I'm out here moonly mooning. Keep your garbage off my face, so pretty, please.
Wow, that was so lovely. I agree. First thing we need to do when we return to the moon is clean up a bit.
It's a polite thing to do.
Thank you. All that junk left behind notwithstanding, I'm totally open to responsible construction on my surface. But there's some stuff you Earthlings should know first. You should take notes. Are you taking notes?
Yep, got my notebook right here.
Molly, that's a brick of cheddar cheese.
Oops, if this is my cheese, then what in the world did I put on my nachos earlier?
Ahem. So, like I was saying, there are a couple things that every moon house needs to have. My human buddy, Plait, knows all about this. He's an astronomer, and he says the most important thing is air.
A house on the moon absolutely has to do one thing, and that's keep you alive. And that means you have to be able to breathe. And since there's no air on the moon, you can't have like a window you can open. No screen windows for getting a nice spring breeze blowing through. You can't do that. So it has to be airtight.
Got it. Since there's no atmosphere or air on the moon, you have to be sure that all the air is sealed up tight inside your house.
Right. You'll need a special airlock chamber, like what you'd see on TV or in the movies. It keeps the air from escaping when you go in and out of your house.
And it keeps all that sharp moon dust from getting inside and making you sick.
Oh, yeah. You definitely don't want to be breathing my dust. It's like they always say on Human Broadway, no dust, no fuss, and that's a plus.
Do they always say that?
Well, if they don't, they should. The second thing your moon house needs, really, really, really good insulation.
Oh yeah, insulation is the fluffy stuff in walls that helps you stay warm in the winter and cool in the summer.
And that's probably pretty important for protecting people from those big swings in temperature on the moon's surface that we talked about earlier. But how do you do it?
Easy. The rock and dust that covers my surface is great for insulating things. Just pile up, say, 6 to 10 feet of that stuff on top of your house, and you're good.
A house under 6 to 10 feet of rock and dust? Isn't that kind of like living underground?
It's exactly like living underground, Ira. And in fact, underground is a great place to be if you're on the moon. You're more protected from that dangerous space radiation you mentioned earlier.
Makes sense.
Plus, living underground protects you from all the comets and asteroids and tiny space rocks that slam into my moony surface. Remember, I don't have an atmosphere, so without that protective bubble of air, all that stuff just crashes right into me.
On Earth, the atmosphere is like a special shield. When meteors and asteroids fly into it, they burn up.
Yeah, that's because this stuff is falling really fast toward Earth. The air in front of it gets all squished together and it gets super hot, which burns things up.
And when you see a shooting star on Earth, it's actually a tiny piece of a meteor burning up as it flies through the atmosphere. Here's my human astronomer friend, Phil, again.
The thing about meteors, when you're outside and you're looking up in the night sky and you see a shooting star, right? That's a meteor, and that's caused by something that is typically smaller than a grain of sand, but it's moving really, really quickly. And so it burns up. It generates so much heat when it goes through our atmosphere, it burns up. Well, something like that hitting the moon, it's just going to go right down to the surface and kablam. So you really have to think about that. It's not big, but it has a lot of energy. So it can really punch through stuff. So you have to protect yourself.
Whoa, shooting stars smaller than a grain of sand? Awesome.
But without a nice cushy atmosphere, all of these tiny little pebbles could totally bust up our moon house. Could you just dig a big hole and put your house in it?
You could, or you could just use one of my beautiful craters and caves. Did you know that I, the moon, have hundreds of deep underground caves? Scientists think that some of them were created when lava flowed from ancient volcanoes. And some of these caves even stay a pleasant 63 degrees all the time.
Positively cozy.
But what if we don't want to live underground? Asking for a friend.
Oh, Molly. Molly Bume.
It's Bloom.
Who said you had to live underground? Scientists are studying all different kinds of super tough building materials that could be used to make above ground houses on the moon, like mixing moon dust with water to make something that looks like concrete, or 3D printing houses. The sky's the limit.
Yeah, just imagine what our moon colony could look like one day.
It'd have to have huge solar panels to capture energy from the sun and store it in batteries to power our houses.
And greenhouses so you can grow your own fresh food.
One day, people might even be able to harvest water from deep, icy craters at the moon's poles, and then you could use that water to make rocket fuel.
That means you could use the moon colony as a place to fuel up for longer space travel, like trips to Mars.
Maybe someday people will have custom moon houses with giant thick windows so you could see Earth.
And trampoline gyms. I bet you could jump so high thanks to the moon's super duper low gravity.
Now you're talking. Next stop, moon trampoline parks, moon Olympics, moon Broadway. But could you guys hurry up and get here already? 'Cause it's a hard knock life for me. It's a hard knock life for me.
Scientists are working hard to figure out how to build houses on the moon.
There are some big challenges like toxic moon dust and space radiation.
Plus, super extreme temperatures and even moonquakes.
That means our moon houses will have to have great insulation and ways to hold all the air inside since the moon doesn't have an atmosphere.
But someday, moon colonies could be a launch pad that lets us explore other parts of space, like Mars.
That's it for this episode of Brains On.
This episode was written by Sandon Totten and Shayla Farzan. It was produced by Rosie DuPont. Our editor was Molly Bloom. Fact-checking by Ruby Guthrie and Phil Plait.
We had engineering help from Deegan Adams and Derek Ramirez with sound design by Rachel Breeze. Original theme music by Mark Sanchez. We had production help from the rest of the Brains On Universe team: Anna Goldfield, Nico Gonzalez-Whistler, Lauren Humpert, Joshua Ray, Charlotte Traver, Anna Weigel, and Aaron Woldeselassie. Beth Perlman is our executive producer, and the executives in charge of APM Studios are Chandra Kavati and Joanne Griffith. Special thanks to Aparna Bharadwaj, Ayan Tundan, Arisha Singhi, Emma Acevedo, and Michelle Rao.
Brains On is a non-profit public radio program.
There are lots of ways to support the show. Subscribe to Brains on Universe on YouTube, where you can watch animated versions of some of your favorite episodes, or head to brainson.org.
While you're there, you can send us mystery sounds, drawings, and questions.
Okay, Ira, are you ready to hear the mystery sound again?
Yeah?
Wonderful, here it is. Okay, what do you think?
It's definitely someone eating something. There's this Indian cracker, it's called a matri, and it's really crunchy. So I think it might be someone eating that.
It sounds delicious. What does the cracker taste like?
It's sort of like a normal cracker, except it's a little less salty, and it's really crispy, and it's brown, and it tastes really good at spices on top.
Sounds so good. I hope that's the answer. Should we hear what the answer is?
Yes.
All right, here it is.
My name's Grinley, and I'm from Calgary. This is the sound of eating chips.
Oh, eating chips.
Oh.
You were right the first time. You got it.
I thought it was too soft to be chips.
Too soft?
Yeah.
It wasn't quite crunchy enough?
Chips would be more crunchy-ish, but less hard sounding.
Interesting. So you thought it was just not quite the right sound. Maybe these are chips that were a little stale, potentially.
Oh, yeah.
We got to find out what kind of chips. I mean, there's so many different kinds of chips. There's banana chips,
Maybe it was those pita chips.
pita chips. I think that's a good guess. Yeah, so there's so many different kinds of chips. We'll need to follow up and find out what kind of chip, because now I'm hungry.
Yeah.
Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed this episode, don't forget to hit the subscribe button. Make sure to check out all our great podcasts, Brains On, Smash Boom Best, Forever Ago, and Moment of See you next time.
Thanks for listening.